Someone's asking Vish, would you rather trade Warner or Bosa? You want to take that impossible question?
Sure. I know what I would rather do. And it's a great question. It's a great question.
Yeah.
I know it right now, but you know what I would say.
I know what you would say.
A lot of
but
reasons.
here's so I don't have an answer right now. Here, I'll break down the pros and cons, right? Fred Warner starts every game. I know that's why you would lean Fred Warner. He's played every game since he's come in the NFL, and he's a leader of this team. The big problem is that Nick Bosa plays a much more premium position than Fred Warner, and he's excellent at it. So I think that would be the kind of like two arguments that you would make for each player. Ultimately, I think I would take Warner just because of health and because he's established himself as like the go-to guy within this organization in terms of you're talking future leaders. It seems to be George Kittle. It seems to be Fred Warner. If you miss a full season like Nick Bosa, you can't establish yourself like that. And that's why right now I would say Fred Warner is the guy I wouldn't trade of the two.
Yeah, I mean, I think as long as he's healthy and doing his thing, he's worth whatever the Niners pay for him. You can make him the highest paid middle linebacker in the league and pay him 9% of your cap or less, and he's worth that. He's worth that. The problem, what I said earlier, is DNs and quarterbacks. They're just paid too much because everyone agrees that they're the two most important positions, and they are. But now you start paying premiums because of that accepted knowledge. So you look at, first of all, he's torn both ACLs. He's had injury issues. That's part of the equation. But that's not the biggest factor here. The biggest factor is that his
when you
brother,
have to pay him, you're going to have to pay him 5 years, $140 million.
It's ridiculous. He's not a quarterback. Quarterback shouldn't make that much money, and a DN shouldn't make that much money.
The problem with paying a DN that much money is this year, I don't think it was that expensive for Joey Bosa because I think he was still playing on his fifth-year option. But what happens when it comes to next year, this is the Khalil Mack situation. Now, I'm in Chicago, so I see Khalil Mack all the time. Khalil Mack is still one of the best players in the NFL. He's fantastic. But the problem is when you're paying him $24 million, you expect him to dominate every single play the way Aaron Donald does. And he has to impact every single play because you pay a quarterback because the quarterback has the ball in his hands every single play. And unfortunately, it's an impossible, monumental task to ask Khalil Mack. He can't physically impact every single play.
Just as it's impossible to ask Russell Wilson to drag that flawed team to a Super Bowl victory. It's the same problem. It's the same thing. It's too much for one guy. And again, look at Khalil Mack. Next year, his cap percentage, no. This year, his cap percentage was 12.5. He made 26.6 this year. That's exactly what Jimmy made. You can't do that. In retrospect, John Gruden was right. He just shouldn't have drafted Josh Jacobs with that pick. But, he was right. You can't spend that much money really on any player, let alone a DN, in my opinion. So what was the question? Yeah, I would be more willing to trade Bosa because I just feel he's going to get $30 million a year. So what you could do is you could trade him, get 3 first-round picks, and maybe get another Nick Bosa or someone who's 80% of what he is plus 2 more players. I think that's the way to go. I don't know. I think that's the way to go.